On a rocky island in the middle of the Mediterranean, where the sea crashes in blue-green waves against weathered limestone cliffs and the wind carries the scent of salt and wild thyme, there stand monuments so ancient that even the oldest myths strain to remember them. They rise from the earth like the bones of a forgotten giant, massive slabs of stone, some weighing more than a passenger jet, arranged in patterns that speak of intention, ritual, and a purpose that we are only beginning to guess at. These are the megalithic temples of Malta, older than Stonehenge, older than the Great Pyramids, and every bit as mysterious. Picture yourself walking toward one of these temples just after dawn. The air is still cool, and the first light spills across the sea, turning the limestone a warm, honey gold. The stones loom ahead, their surfaces pitted and rough from thousands of years of sun, wind, and rain. And yet, they still stand. As you get closer, you notice how impossibly large they are, not just boulders, but carefully shaped megaliths, some as tall as a two-story building, fitted together with a precision that makes you wonder, how? How did people more than 5,000 years ago, long before metal tools, before the wheel even arrived on the island, manage this? To understand the scale of what we're looking at, you have to place these temples in time. The oldest of them, such as Ġgantija on the island of Gozo, date back to around 3,600 BCE. That's more than 1,000 years before Stonehenge began to rise in the fields of England. Imagine that, when the builders of Stonehenge were still generations away from lifting their first sarsen stone, Malta's temple builders had already been working for centuries, creating a network of monumental structures across their islands. The temples are not scattered randomly. From the southern coast to the northern reaches, they are placed in locations that seem to hold special meaning, on promontories overlooking the sea, in fertile valleys, near freshwater springs. Some are aligned with the rising or setting sun at solstices and equinoxes, suggesting that their creators watch the heavens as closely as they work the land. Others seem designed for sound, with curved walls and narrow chambers that can amplify a human voice into a resonant, almost otherworldly hum. One of the most intriguing is Ḥaġar Qim, perched on a clifftop facing the endless blue of the Mediterranean. Walk through its entrance, and you feel as though you're stepping into a place where the air itself is different, heavier, expectant. Massive upright stones flank you, some weighing over 20 tons, each positioned with care. The floor is paved with smooth slabs, worn by the passage of countless feet over millennia. Sunlight filters in through narrow gaps, casting beams across the chamber in ways that feel deliberate, as though the builders wanted to guide your eyes, and perhaps your thoughts, to certain points at certain times. And then there's the Hypogeum of Halsaflieni, not a temple above ground, but an entire complex carved into the bedrock beneath the city of Paola. Discovered by accident in 1902, it's a subterranean labyrinth of chambers, passages, and niches, some painted with red ochre spirals that have survived for over 5 millennia. The Hypogeum is famous for its oracle room, where a human voice can echo in deep, haunting resonance, as if the stone itself is speaking back. Standing there, you feel the hair rise on your arms. This was not just architecture. This was an experience designed to reach into the mind and spirit of anyone who entered. But here's the question that pulls us deeper into the mystery. Who were these builders? The people who created Malta's temples left no written records. We know they were skilled farmers, fishermen, and herders, tending to sheep and goats in the island's thin soil. We know they had trade connections, bringing obsidian from Sicily and shells from across the Mediterranean. And we know they revered a figure often called the Fat Lady, or Mother Goddess, a symbol of fertility, abundance, and life. Dozens of statues and figurines have been found in the temples, depicting this form with rounded hips, ample bellies, and serene, faceless heads. Some are small enough to fit in your hand. Others, like the Sleeping Lady of the Hypogeum, are carved in exquisite detail, showing a woman reclining on her side in eternal rest. Why did they build these massive stone structures? Many archaeologists believe they were places of worship, sanctuaries where ceremonies marked the rhythms of the seasons, the cycles of life and death. The alignments to solstices and equinoxes suggest an agricultural calendar, ensuring planting and harvest happened at the right times. The presence of animal bones, pottery, and burnt offerings hints at feasts, sacrifices, and communal gatherings. Some temples even seem to have been deliberately closed or sealed after centuries of use, as though marking the end of an era or honoring the spirits of the place. But not all the questions have answers. How did they move stones weighing as much as a modern bus across rough, hilly terrain? Without wheels, without beasts of burden, they must have relied on rolling logs, sledges, and sheer human determination. And why did this temple building culture vanish around 2500 BCE, centuries before Stonehenge was finished? Archaeologists speculate about climate change, soil exhaustion, or disease. But perhaps it was something else, something lost to us in the fog of deep time. Legends on the islands tell another story. The name Ġgantija means giant's tower, and for centuries the locals believed these temples were built by giants who could carry the stones on their shoulders. One tale speaks of a giantess who fell in love with a mortal man. She carried stones from the far side of the island to build a home for their child. Others say the temples were built in a single night by supernatural beings, working under the light of the moon. There's also the enduring allure of Malta's connection to the sea. From these shores, you can see Sicily on a clear day. Ancient sailors would have spotted Malta's cliffs long before they landed, perhaps seeing the gleam of the temples in the morning sun. Some researchers believe the temples served as navigational beacons or ceremonial welcome points for seafarers, connecting Malta to a wider network of prehistoric cultures across the Mediterranean. Could the same people who built the temples have traded ideas, and perhaps even rituals, with the builders of megaliths in Sardinia, Corsica, or the Balearic Islands? And then there is the sound, a detail that captures the imagination of anyone who has visited. Step into certain chambers of these temples and speak in a low voice. The sound doesn't just echo, it vibrates through your chest and skull, wrapping around you like invisible hands. Was this intentional? Acoustic studies suggest the builders knew exactly how to shape their spaces to create this resonance. Some frequencies produced in these chambers can alter brainwave patterns, shifting a person into a more meditative or trance-like state. Imagine standing there 5,000 years ago, with the deep thrum of chanting filling the air, the light of torches flickering on carved stone, and the smell of burning herbs rising to the roof. For me, the most haunting aspect of the Maltese temples is how they blend human craft with the rhythms of the natural world. The solstice alignments, the connection to the sea, the interplay of shadow and light, these are not accidents. They speak of a people who saw no division between the sacred and the everyday, between earth and sky. The temple walls are not simply walls. They are frames for the sun, the moon, and the stars, turning the heavens into part of the ritual. Yet the silence of their builders is absolute. No texts, no inscriptions, no obvious burials to tell us their names. Just the stones, the statues, and the enduring mystery of their purpose. When the temple culture ended, the islands did not lie empty. New people arrived, bringing bronze tools and new ways of life. But the old temples were never rebuilt, never imitated. They stood abandoned, slowly sinking into the soil until farmers stumbled upon them or archaeologists uncovered them in the 19th and 20th centuries. Today, you can walk among them. You can lay your hand on a stone carved and placed thousands of years before the first Roman set foot on Malta, before Homer sang of Troy, before the first pharaoh ruled Egypt. And if you listen, really listen, you might hear what so many have heard before you: the whisper of the wind through ancient doorways, the muted hum of the sea beyond, and something deeper, something almost like a voice speaking across 5 millennia. Perhaps that's the greatest mystery of all. These temples are proof that even in a small, rocky place, far from the centers of ancient empires, human beings reached for something greater. They dreamed in stone, they worked in harmony with the sky, and they left behind a message we are still trying to read. Maybe it's not meant to be fully understood. Maybe the act of wondering, of standing in their shadow and asking, why, is itself part of what they built. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the deep past, into the sunlit and shadowed halls of Malta's megalithic temples. Now, I'd like to hear from you. Were these monuments purely places of worship, or could they have been something more? Beacons for travelers, centers of learning, or gateways between worlds? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, please like, comment, and share. It truly helps keep these stories alive.